Many of you that are already familiar with my channel probably recall that on July 15th, I was one of the first to honestly report about James Gunn's Superman being a box office flop. This was happening at a time where many people were hesitant to actually acknowledge that for a variety of different reasons, especially those type of mainstream media shills. And even though reporting the truth invited a lot of very harsh criticism aimed towards me, I never budged or compromised my position because I had genuinely believed that my assessment of the Superman box office was correct. And now, over a month into the movie's release, more and more people both in the access media and even on YouTube are acknowledging that my analysis was right on the money. And the fact that Warner Brothers have already released Superman on streaming sooner than expected, apparently without James Gunn's blessing, shows that not only is Gunn considered a disappointment at Warner Brothers right now, but that the underperformance of Superman may have real implications on both Gunn and his DCU moving forward. In this video, I'm going to go over all of that with you, but before we dive in, please make sure to like and subscribe so that you never miss out on another exclusive report like this one.
Do it.
Now, in the interest of fairness, I want to clarify that I don't work at Warner Brothers, but my past experience working in entertainment at least gives me some knowledge and understanding of some of the politics that happen behind the scenes. So based on the facts that we already have available, I will do my best to explain what I believe is really going on at Warner Brothers these days, and to be clear, at least part of what I'm telling you involves speculation on my end, so please accept it that way. Initially, when David Zaslav hired James Gunn to be the co-CEO of DC Studios, Zaslav had high hopes that Gunn would be able to replicate some of that MCU box office magic for Warner Brothers with its DC characters. And initially, it looked like Gunn started his position with a lot of credit from Zaslav. That's why he was quickly able to fire Henry Cavill, Ben Affleck, and Gal Gadot in his first order of business, and then declare that he's essentially rebooting the entire DC cinematic universe, excluding projects that his wife appeared in. But even amidst the credit that he got from Zaslav, there were still two thorns in Gunn's side that he likely wanted to get rid of, but simply wasn't able to at the time because they were still worth money to Warner Brothers and perhaps also still tied up in contractual obligations. One thorn was Todd Phillips' Joker movie, which had generated over $1 billion at the box office in 2019, but luckily for Gunn, its sequel, which came out last year, was such an unprecedented flop that nobody at Warner's will ever greenlight another one of those again.
There is no Joker.
But perhaps when it came to Matt Reeves and his own Batman universe, Gunn couldn't get rid of him so easily, although I suspect that he really wanted to. Now I know the industry trades and Gunn himself would have you believe that he and Reeves are all buddy-buddy and that they work together in perfect harmony, but in my opinion, this is probably not the case at all. And the only reason Gunn even puts up this facade is because Reeves' Batman movie made pretty decent money at the box office in 2022, and his 2024 spin-off Penguin show delivered critical acclaim, industry awards, and even a stint on Nielsen's top streaming charts, which is exactly the type of stuff that Zaslav likes to see. Now, based on Gunn's own statements from 2023, it appears that Gunn had initially intended to launch his own version of the live-action DCU Batman based on The Brave and the Bold.
The introduction of the DCU's Batman is The Brave and the Bold.
Which is exactly why he had declared at the time that anything Matt Reeves did was considered an Elseworld property separate from his DCU.
Matt Reeves' Batman is clearly labeled as DC Elseworlds.
But as much as Gunn wanted to Elseworld Matt Reeves into oblivion, I suspect that Warner CEO David Zaslav was never completely sold on the idea of having two simultaneous live-action Batmans, and perhaps, after seeing some positive results from Reeves, he wasn't in such a rush to get rid of him. Ultimately, I believe that what Zaslav had relayed to Gunn was that no concrete decision would be made on any future Batman movies, perhaps including Reeves, until the release of James Gunn's Superman. In the meantime, James Gunn was also able to intercept Matt Reeves' Clayface spin-off in order to make sure it's a part of his DCU and not a part of Matt Reeves' Batman universe. And yes, I'm aware that Reeves is still considered a producer on the Clayface project, but I suspect that this is likely more of a contractual obligation that needs to be honored. And with Gunn pretty much containing the Reeves situation for a while now, I genuinely believe that if Superman would have made between $800 million to $1 billion at the worldwide box office, Matt Reeves would have been quietly phased out by Warner Brothers, possibly even having a second Batman movie shelved altogether. But since early on after Superman's release last month, in spite of all of David Zaslav Zaslav's likely phony praise for Gunn in the media, I believe that Zaslav feels that Gunn's Superman, at minimum, didn't produce the type of box office results that he was looking for. I mean, until now, after 6 weekends, Superman hasn't cracked $600 million worldwide, and it has no way of even catching up to Zack Snyder's $670 million from 2013, and that's even before we adjust that number for inflation. And to make matters worse, Gunn hasn't even come close to Reeves' 2022 Batman success of $772 million worldwide either, which in my opinion means that Matt Reeves and his Batman sequel are still in the picture, perhaps now more than ever. That's probably the reason why recently, exactly while Superman has been flopping at the worldwide box office, we seem to be hearing more and more chatter than usual about Matt Reeves' second Batman movie than we have in a while. And remember James Gunn's The Brave and the Bold?
The introduction of the DCU's Batman is The Brave and the Bold,
which he announced was part of his DCU Phase 1? Well, nobody seems to be talking about that anymore, and when Gunn was recently interviewed about the future of his DCU, he said that he was focusing on a Superman saga.
I've already finished the treatment for the next story in what I'll call the Superman saga.
Which is a term that he hadn't used prior, so what I believe it really means is that perhaps based on Superman's underperformance, Zaslav may have recently limited the scope in which James Gunn can operate moving forward within his DCU space, which means that it's actually Gunn's Batman that has likely been pushed aside and not necessarily Reeves. When it comes to Gunn's existing slate, Supergirl is already being filmed, so that's certainly going to happen, and his Green Lanterns and Clayface project are far enough into production to still be moving forward as well. As for Peacemaker, the streaming performance of Season 2, which premieres soon, will likely decide its fate, and while James Gunn is still in charge of DC Studios, if nothing else, I tend to think that after Superman's box office results, Gunn no longer has a blank check from Zaslav to just do as he pleases, until he can actually turn a real profit for Warner Brothers. Now, this is a very dynamic situation. I'm sure that things could change at any moment, and if something Gunn produces really delivers major success for Warner's, it could give him more leverage at the company, but for now, I suspect that Gunn's reputation at Warner Brothers, at least as of this moment, has taken something of a hit, and one has to wonder how this will all turn out down the road. But there's one thing I'm pretty sure about. Supergirl, which comes out in 1 year, will be a crucial moment for him, because if that movie doesn't deliver a massive worldwide box office success, it could end up weakening Gunn's position at DC Studios even more, potentially paving his way out of it altogether. In any case, I'm going to continue to update you as things unfold, not just today or tomorrow, but even beyond that, and if you'd like to stay informed, please consider liking and subscribing. I'm happy to put in the work that I do, and I don't expect anything in return, but that kind of support would really mean a lot to me. Thanks for watching, my friends. Thank you, and good day!
I am such an awesome guy. I make so many videos.